Sorry. And Ella, I'm going to go ahead and hand you over the mic.
Oh, okay. So my name is Ella Sears. I'm going into 9th grade, and I do Girl Scouts and Girl Scout Trailblazers. So, and I have these lovely peoples here with me today. Sorry if I'm really bad at this. And they are, I believe they work in construction. So, and I'm here to have a conversation with them. So I've been given some questions here. So the first one is just to tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do. So take it away.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining in. My name is Michele O'Rourke. I'm the CEO of O'Rourke Wrecking Company. We are an environmental and demolition specialty contractor, and we perform every type of demolition you can think of, from tearing a building down with what most people think, and doing explosive demolition, which is an implosion, which you probably see on the news. Those aren't as common as everyone thinks. It's just the media picks them up, to doing an interior strip out, to doing a selective demolition of coming in on a building and taking a wing off. But anyway, enough about my business life. I grew up in Cincinnati. I'm born and raised. I married my high school sweetheart, and I met him at a high school football game. And I've been working at O'Rourke for 29 years this year. And I love what I do. A lot of people say, how did a woman get into the demolition field, which is very, very male dominated still to this day. And it's just, I love seeing results. I love driving by projects that we've worked on. You know, not all the buildings are torn down, but there's new buildings there, which Stephanie will tell you about what she does in construction. But you get to see all the changes, and you get to work with some really great people, and they have great stories. So enough about me.
Thanks, Michele. Hi, everyone. My name is Stephanie Hall. I am the president of DAG Construction. It is a small construction company here in Cincinnati, Ohio. We mostly do the cleanup after Michele. So she knocks it all down and I build something right over it. So we tag team together on projects. I build a lot of educational facilities, high schools, elementary schools. I even do work with the local universities. And my niche, or my passion right now, is building for hotels. So those are my kind of key focus. I don't do homes, I don't do residential. I strictly in the commercial aspect of construction. Was born and raised here in Cincinnati. After college, after I graduated, I decided to take a job in Florida. So I moved 10,000 miles away, worked for Walt Disney World building for them. And then met my husband, got married, had a child, and moved back home to Cincinnati to take over the family business. So that's a little bit about me.
Well, that was really fascinating. Our next question is asking, if you could live anywhere, where would it be and why? I think this is always a really interesting question.
Oh, this is a fun question. I love it. You know, I have to say, I don't think I could pick one place. I have to have two, and I hate to do that, but I just need like a dual stay. I want to live in the winter in Florida. I just love the ocean, love the climate down there, and I want to go out west for the summer. I would love to be somewhere in the Teton Mountain area, Jackson Hole, Wyoming, Moose, Wyoming. I think that would be fabulous. If I could choose, that's what I would do.
Well, you took my answer, because I have the exact same answer. My husband is from Florida, so if we had any chance to live anywhere, it would be to move back home to be closer to his family and things like that. But if I had my dream, it would be secluded in the mountains.
See, that's why we do so well together, Stephanie.
So like-minded.
Yes.
Well, I definitely know that I would go back to New Zealand if I could go anywhere. But I think I've heard great things about Jackson Hole and that kind of area. So I can see why you would want to go there. I've read several great books that are centered in that area. So our next question is, well, another really interesting one. It wants to know, what would you describe as a perfect day? Not necessarily in your job, but just a perfect day in your life. Like, what would be really fun for you?
I have to say, I don't know if there's a perfect day in the job. You just kind of have to roll with it and find the small things that happen during the day that, get you through. But in my personal life, a perfect day for me as I've gotten older is just to have lots of laughter and be around children. You learn as an older adult now, you learn so much through children, how they look at life, how they simplify life, and they just don't take themselves too seriously. And I think as adults, we can all use a little of that in this world we live in today. So that's my perfect day is finding some laughter and joy throughout it, no matter what.
Well, my perfect day is something similar to that as well. I would love nothing more to be in a cabin in the woods with my husband and my son and go hiking for the day and just enjoy nature and not have to worry about emails popping up or the phone ringing or anything like that. That would be a perfect day. But I also know in order to get my perfect day, I need to work and get the emails taken care of and answer the phone calls. So I can have those days.
Now, my husband will be mad if he listens to this because Stephanie mentioned her family, and I love my husband to death, but we work together. So just let me, so sometimes you need a break.
Yeah, and I totally get what you're saying. My mother and I like to scroll through funny things that kids say. And there was one that was a school assignment that for like a 6-year-old or something. It was, if I had 100 friends, I would, and he finished the sentence, turn the phone off. And I thought that was very true to life and definitely had something to do with what you guys are saying. So now, out of the more getting to know you questions and into the more work-related questions, the first one is, how do you balance your career, personal life, and your passions and aspirations?
Well, this is tough for me. I think as women and men, we all struggle with this question, and I don't do a very good job at it. And the reason is my husband and I do not have children. We were not able to have them. So our business and our employees are like our kids. So that's one of the reasons it's hard, because I work a lot and I care a lot about our employees like they're our children. And so it's hard to carve out personal time because there's just a lot, going on every day. And the easiest thing to neglect is to schedule yourself. And so I've been learning to schedule my time in, even if it's at night or first thing in the morning, my biggest thing is just to take a lunch off site. That really helps my mindset. And so I'm learning. So I'm probably not the best one to answer that.
No, but you're so right, Michelle. I think because of how busy our lives are, we sacrifice our own personal time so that others can have that. I too work really hard so that my employees can take their vacation and not have to worry about calling into work and things like that. And I am still struggling with my balance between career and personal life. And I have no hobbies. I don't have time for hobbies. So my hobbies are, doing the chores around the house on the weekends when I get a chance if I'm not at work. So it is a great struggle for us. And I'm so glad that you guys are having this kind of format to engage with others, because that's one thing we don't want is for the women that are watching this to lose themselves in their future careers.
Right.
Good advice, definitely. And another question that's quite similar, I think you may have already answered it partially. What motivates you guys to work hard, and why do you, keep working hard?
Well, for me, I grew up in I would say lower to middle class family. And I didn't get things, hardly. I mean, I was provided the basics, which was great. But for extracurriculars or extra things I wanted, the new pair of gym shoes or an outfit, or I had to work. So I had a work ethic at a very, very young age. I had a paper route. I babysat full time, but when I was like in 7th and 8th grade, you know, in the summers, like I didn't have like a summer off just to do what I wanted. Because I was motivated, you know, by money to work and to get things. And I think I instilled that in myself very young, and I think it's an excellent trait to have, because it's harder to teach that as an adult. You know, it's hard to have that mindset of working hard, saving money, you know, getting ahead, if you don't learn that at a young age. So I am grateful for that, even though when I was a kid, I was not.
I think that one thing that motivates me to work hard is others that don't see the potential, that think I can't do it because I'm a woman. So I work harder, and I'm motivated to prove them wrong. That doesn't matter the color of my skin, my gender, my body built, or anything like that. If you need a 2x4 moved, I'm going to move a 2x4. And if you need a $35 million school built, I'm going to build a $35 million school. That's what kind of motivates me, is the people that think that I can't do it.
It's definitely very, very reasonable answers. And leading into number 6, what does leadership mean to you, and what is your leadership style? Seeing as you guys are both pretty important in your companies, like that's obviously something that definitely plays into your lives a lot, leadership.
Yes. For me, I like empowering my team, you know, to their fullest potential. I am very open. If you know me, I'm very open and honest. I believe in collaboration. I don't believe in a kind of a dictatorship, like you do this. I think a leader needs to be empathetic, especially in today's world, and compassionate, and meet people where they're at in their lives, because we all come from different backgrounds and grow up differently. And it's just nice. I think from a woman's perspective, I know Stephanie can relate to this, is women have it easier than a man to learn that trait, and that's just, and it helps with managing employees, and they have appreciation. So I think women leaders do a lot of mentoring because of that, and I do believe you have to be a mentor as a leader. You have to give back, and you so I don't know what there's so many terms now for leadership styles. So I think the newest term is like a transformational leader, you know, just or one that mentors and empowers. And I think that best describes me.
I think my leadership role is I'll be in the trenches with you. So I wouldn't ask someone that works for me or anything like that to do something that I'm not willing to do myself. I firmly believe that I build a level of trust and dedication to the job if my employees see me working alongside of them instead of from some big ivory tower downtown on the 30th floor. I believe that if the employees and the people that I'm entrusting to carry my company's name forward in the industry, if they have trust and respect for me and I pay that back to them, then that's the face of my company that I want people to see.
Yeah, and to add to Stephanie, you know, Stephanie and I are in positions where we have to make difficult decisions, you know, almost daily. And a lot of times, you know, as women, we have to be very assertive and firm and stand our ground. But at the same time, we also have to be cheerleaders and persuade and bring people together and persuade them why we need them to do what they're doing. So you know, it's a kind of like you float back and forth, but you have to be very assertive in this business. But you also can be very nice too and respectful. And that's one thing I think both of us as leaders are.
Great. Our next question is also about leadership. Is there a particular leader that you look up to, and why do you look up to that specific leader?
Gosh, you know, there's so many great leaders. I have a couple answers. One that relates to how I got into like the STEM field of science, I loved my senior chemistry teacher. Her name was Mrs. Campbell, and she was so enthusiastic about chemistry. And chemistry, and most science teachers, no offense, but they're just a little, they're kind of dry, maybe boring, too serious. And Mrs. Campbell wore makeup, she dressed to the nines, and she made chemistry fun. And you know what? Everyone paid attention. And in fact, when I went to college, I switched my major, but I started in chemistry because of Mrs. Campbell, because I thought, I've never met a woman in science before. She was the first woman. They've all been men. And so she was a great one. And then the other one that this is, I guess, modern day is Condoleezza Rice. She's the former US Secretary of State. She just was so, you listen to her. She was very, very classy, and she used her power, but she turned it into influence. She knew she had a powerful position, but she could win people over. And it's kind of like how Stephanie and I are. We're very assertive, but and just she was a great example for me as a woman owner, business owner.
Well, mine's kind of simpler than that. I guess my leader that I look up to and role model would be Michele. She blows me away every day with what she takes on, and she has faced so many hurdles just like I have, and it is so comforting and reassuring to know that there are other people in this industry that are struggling just like I am. And she's kind of paving that road for all these other women that are coming up in the industry that want to do what we do. And she's kind of said that you can have it all. You can be the CEO of the company, and you can take the vacation to Florida and go fishing with your husband, and you have that ability. But you also have to know that on Saturday morning when your phone rings because there's a problem at the job site, you have to go. So it's nice to have people like that I didn't have that growing up. I just went into the industry because it was in the family and it's what you're supposed to do. But to have people like her in the industry that says you're going to have bad days, but you're going to have really good days too. So.
Thank you, Stephanie. I feel the same way about you. Yeah, it's true. You have to put the work in. You earn positions by hard work, and there's nothing else to, there's just no handing a position. You have to be prepared, armed with knowledge, and work hard. And that's what Stephanie does every day.
Well, that was definitely very, very good people to look up to. I've had 3 specifically science teachers, and they're all really awesome. I've always loved my science classes, but I feel like I was the only one who paid attention. So your Miss Campbell must have really been something.
Now, Ella, you're just a little bit younger than us. So when we were in school, it was really male-dominated field still.
Yeah, but I've had 3 science teachers. 2 were female, 1 was male. My 7th grade teacher was male, and no one paid attention in their classes. But I know it was always, most of my classes were people whose science came pretty easy to them, so I don't think they had to. But all my teachers are really nice. We have a new section of questions is about advice from you guys. The first one is that construction is very male dominated, and how did you get to your position today, and how did you experience the obstacles relating to the male domination of the industry?
That's a long one. I got in this, when you read, I don't know if everyone's had a chance to read our backgrounds, but Stephanie, I would call her the pedigree in the construction business, because she has just like the perfect career, the degrees and what you need to enter our business. So, but I got in by default. I'm like kind of the mutt at the pound. So my background, a little bit about O'Rourke. It's 60 years old this year, and my father-in-law started the company, and he died suddenly at 52. He's been gone 28 years, and my husband took it over at age 26, and then I was in the science field. I was in the medical sales because I didn't go to medical school, so I was traveling all the time, and I knew I needed to stay home. So I thought, well, I'm gonna work on my resume at the office. Things are a mess. There was no prep. No one thought his dad was gonna die. And so I started hearing about, when I was in the office, I kept hearing about all these problems and nightmares and no cash flow and no, they're not billing jobs. And it's like, you know, I could balance my own checkbook, which is very smart, by the way. You should know your finances, women. That's one piece of advice I give you. Handle your finances. And I knew we wouldn't be in business long if I didn't, you know, just start helping with the billing. So I just said, hey, can I work here? And anyway, that's what happened. That's how I joined the company. I started from the bottom. I cleaned the stock room. I did orders. I would run bids. The obstacles I had early on, I got my first taste of it when I would run a bid. To drop it off, I'd go to wait for the bid opening to hear the results, and the room would go silent when I'd walk in. I was the only woman, and they'd laugh, and then they'd be like, oh, you must be from the plan room, lady. You must be from. So I'm like, no, I'm here to. Yeah, so those are the kind of obstacles that have changed. We've come a long way since then. There's more women now, but basically I worked in pretty much every department, and that has helped me in my career, you know, to relate to all the different positions here and what we ask employees to do. I understand, and there's good days and there's great days, but excuse me, there's bad days and then there's great days. So you just have to just keep moving forward, you know, keep plowing. It still happens to me today. There's still obstacles. I'm on many boards now, and I feel like, and I know Stephanie will be able to relate to this, but a lot of times when you're new, you have to work way harder than a man. And even making statements at a table, you know, I still find that if a man backs me up, like, oh yes, we're going to go with that. You know, you just have to work, but once you convince them, you'll earn their respect and you're good. So it's all good. We just have to work a little harder right now.
Yeah. So I guess my way I got to my position was my dad started the business, and when I was in 8th grade, he said, don't pick another career but construction. You're just doing construction. So there was no alternate job for me. When I was in high school, I was the only girl in shop and drafting classes. And, you know, it stung a little when I was in those high school classes and I was the only girl, but it just showed me that I had to work harder. And once like Michele said, once you get the respect of the guys you're with, it moves you forward. Every time I'm on a job site though, the very first thing I walk onto a job site, I will always get questioned. Are you the new secretary? Are you the, you know, new paper pusher? And I have to explain that that's not me, as I'm your boss. And to earn their respect, I'm like, you get to clean the portalettes today. That's your job, since I'm your boss. And they don't make that mistake again. But it's the same time every time I walk on a job site. And I walk onto a job site, you know, 8 times a year. So it's not, and it's a stigma that will never, ever, unfortunately, go away in my lifetime. I hope that it does go away for the future of women in construction, but it's something that I've come to expect now. I walked into a meeting at a school I was working on, and when I walked into the building, the person running the meeting asked if I was there to register my child for high school. Didn't even dawn on him that I was there to build his building. So those are the kind of obstacles that we're faced with. It's not something that I get offended by or get upset about. It's just the facts of life right now. And I think what Michele and I are trying to do, especially with this podcast, is kind of educate the future of our industry, to tell women, you know, you don't have to take it. You can kind of put people in your place, but put them in their place politely, that this doesn't have to happen coming in the future.
That's right. We feel like we're breaking glass ceilings every day. And Stephanie said a great thing. You don't have to be mean about it. You're polite, you're kind, and just be firm and keep doing what you're doing. We have changed a lot of mindsets. A lot of perceptions have been changed by the two of us.
Yeah, I think that's definitely very, very sensible. And I think I've always been very into like the theoreticals and thinking the way, and just thinking. I'm taking some psychology classes next year. And I think it's not necessarily some people's fault. Like, that's just the way they were raised. So I think what you're saying, don't be mean about, that's just reasonable. Like, some people just don't know any better. And
Right.
like, it's not their fault. It's just that's what they were taught. So it's just,
That's right.
I like how you're saying don't be mean about it. So our next question, why is it important for girls to pursue their interests in STEM? That's our next question.
Oh, I think STEM careers are going to outpace non-STEM careers in the next decade. I think with all the technology coming in, and I just think it's a wonderful career choice for men and women. I think there's going to be tons of positions for women. The pay grade, the salaries in STEM are phenomenal now. It's not like the old days where you're going to get it, people have caught on, and just the need for what's happening in our world. It's a great, and there's so many different things you can do with STEM. It's just not, you can work in the field with it. You can work in an office. You can go into, there's just so many things. You can go and be an attorney in construction and understand, construction law, because, accidents happen. You had an engineering background, became an attorney. Wow. I can't even imagine. Just, different things like that. I think it's just going to outpace, and that's why it's important for women, especially to pay attention and maybe go to that career choice.
I firmly agree with Michele. I think the more women we can get involved in the STEM careers, it's going to be monumental. Like Michele said, when she was going to school and stuff like that, science teachers weren't women. My math teachers, all growing up through elementary and grade school, they were all men. So can you imagine if you take the knowledge that you learn in these STEM classes and then apply the compassion and the empathy that women have? It just would make you excel in your career, that would make you desirable for others.
Right. And then when you have the balance with men, it's the diversity of thought. And I think way more inventions are going to come our way because of that. Just women, Stephanie, I will tell you, when we sit at a table full of men and then you've added women, it's just very synergistic. It's great. It's a lot of work gets done. So I think it'll propel us as more women enter into STEM careers. The advancements will be great.
Yeah, and I think that maybe in 100 years, like, women will be the ones dominating the industry, and some men will walk into a room in a construction building and they'll look at him like he doesn't belong. And
You are
that
exactly
would,
what
honestly,
we're
these
looking
days
for.
would be really
I
funny.
love it.
But
Yes.
in 100 years, that might be exactly what's normal. And I mean, honestly, I don't think that's a very good solution either, because then all of the men are going to get upset about it. We're going to have a completely, just what's happening now is just keep going to flip flop. Everyone's just going to take their turn dominating. So,
Well,
anyways,
we'll figure it out and have that balance, and we'll stop. We won't cross the threshold of all women. So.
Yeah. So what advice do you guys have for someone interested in a career that's similar to yours in construction or civil engineering?
Probably Stephanie can answer this. I will put my 2 cents in, and that is, you have to work hard in construction. You have to be there every day.
Michele?
I think she's frozen.
Oh no. I think I'll just carry on with what you're saying. You don't want to give up. That's like the number one thing. Don't give up. Don't take a beating from one misword or miscommunication from someone else, and know your worth, know your confidence level and know that you can do it. So don't give up. It's going to be hard. It's going to be challenging, but it's going to be so worth it.
Okay, so well, since it seems like Michelle is not going to become unfrozen anytime soon, I'll just go on to the next question. Oh no, something's happening. Now her screen is black. Oh, anyways. Next question. What do you believe will be the biggest challenge for the next generation of female leaders behind you, and what advice would you give them?
I think the biggest challenge going forward will be that balance. I think the people that are coming in now have the mindset that we've been struggling for. We've been trying to balance work and life, and we've been sacrificing life to make sure the work exceeds. And I think that this next generation that's coming in knows the benefit of having a higher quality of life, and that maybe the work level will suffer. So it's going to be trying to find that balance. And I don't know that anybody has the real key to it or knows the secret behind an equal balance. I don't work on that, but I do think that the future is going to have more people wanting a higher quality of life and not wanting to work as hard and as long.
Can you hear me now? I'm sorry about that. I don't know what.
Yes,
I don't know
you're
what happened.
back. Did you hear what the
I got
question
cut out.
was?
I wasn't even saying anything bad. But I'm going to chime in on what Stephanie said about the balance. And that is one thing that I think the biggest, it's already come, I can see it, we both can see it as the workforce is what is the construction workforce going to look like? It's changing drastically. A lot of, because of the pandemic has forced people to think, I don't know if I want to work out in the field. I kind of want to stay home. I want to work from home. I want to do that. I want flex hours. So unfortunately in construction, you have to be there. So it'll be interesting to see, you know, like for the pandemic, I'll just give you an example. Construction was deemed essential. That means we had to tell our workforces, okay, all your friends are home. You have to go to work and you have to be careful and you have to wear masks. And so that was quite the struggle. And I think, you know, I hope not, but I think there'll probably be more pandemics and things that will pivot our industry again. So to me, one of the biggest challenges is going to be what will the workforce of construction look like? And, you know, maybe that's with inventions. You know, I know for demolition, they're talking about, you know, robotic machines. So someone can sit down like in a building and be 34 stories up and you know, control. It's almost like a game controller. So, you know what I mean? So I think things will change. So it's managing technology and workforce, I think, are the biggest challenges.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if all construction was shut down, maybe, but there was a street that was being worked on. It was on the way to my cousin's house, actually, and we go and visit him a lot. And it just completely shut down. So we had to take like a 15-minute detour to go see my cousin during COVID. And we didn't go and see him as much, of course, and we wore masks. But whenever we did, we'd have to like go completely like way out of the way, and we'd have to go around all of these little streets that were backed up with traffic because it was like an important road. And they just construction stayed still for 1 year, for like a whole year, and there were like three schools on that street, and it was supposed to be just like a summer project, and it just and then it was just sitting there for a year, and everyone couldn't go to the school, and a lot of people had to like park their car and then like walk down the street to get into their house, and it was really bad. Yeah. So anyways,
Right.
that was the last.
We all have stories like that. And that's one thing I think Stephanie and I were like, we felt appreciated during the pandemic because everyone realized how important construction is, you know, when you can't get a plumber or electrician or carpenter to come to your house.
Yeah, I knew someone whose shower was being worked on in the pandemic hit, so they had no shower throughout the pandemic. And like all of the plumbing was, and then they said, well, we're probably going to have to come and fix the plumbing eventually because like the plumbing was really weak. That was why they're having the shower like redone, and eventually the pipe couldn't hold it any longer, even though the shower wasn't being used, and it just burst, and then they had to call like the super emergency plumber. It was crazy.
Well, thank you all so much for being a part of this conversation, Michele and Stephanie, listening to what motivates you all. Michele, you said finding laughter and joy. I wrote that down. I have little Post-it notes. I love that. And just what your all's work ethic, showing up every day, no matter what, and being patient, being assertive is very, very important for everybody. Ella, thank you for hosting the conversation. You did such a fantastic job. And thank you for everyone who watched this conversation. I hope it motivates you to work a little bit harder. Again, thank you all, and I hope you have a great rest of your evening.
Thank you all very much. It was a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure. Thank you, Ella. Thank you, Katie. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.